What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sky Viper Hover Racer. And as you notice, it is very wintry out here. And I shot this review actually a while back when it was still green, and then I even shot a little bit of it when the leaves were falling. So I've been sitting on this one a while, so I apologize. Anyway, let's get into it. The review of the Sky Viper Hover Racer. So here we have the Sky Viper Hover Racer, and to me, Hover Racer is kind of like one of those terms like jumbo shrimp, kind of an oxymoron. You're not going to be hovering and racing at the same time, but that's what they're calling this one. So it does have a race car look. It has the tri-blade props, which I really like. I'm a big fan of tri-blade props, tri-blade props, tri-blade props. Say it 3 times real fast. A little bit of a tongue twister. Tri-blade props. I like them. They seem to provide more stability to the quadcopter. And another thing you will notice on this one is it does have these sensors below and on the sides. I believe these are Bluetooth sensors because the quadcopter connects to your phone via Bluetooth. And you got 2 LEDs in the back here. Just generally a nice looking quadcopter. It does come with prop guards attached, and that's what these holes are. There's like a big little plastic part that attaches here, and then you got these 2 smaller ones. And it did take quite a bit of doing to get the prop guards off. I actually liked the way it looked with the prop guards attached, but I decided to remove them because it flies very heavy, and the added weight of the prop guards seems to adversely affect the flight conditions. I would recommend removing the prop guards once you get some experience flying this one around. And I did notice that one of my props was kind of hitting the prop guard as it was flying, so obviously that's going to affect your flight performance as well. What I'm going to do today is demonstrate the flight characteristics of this Hover Racer here. We're going to see if we can link up to these beacons. I've had mixed success with these beacons and the app. One of my beacons just doesn't work at all. I think it's the blue one. It's either the blue or the gray, I can't remember. So first off, I'm just going to fly it. I got a couple batteries for this one. That's the nice thing about these Sky Vipers. They come with these interchangeable 3.7 volt 650 milliamp hour batteries with the JST connector, and these are readily available at Walmart and Target and Toys R Us and probably a few other places as well. Any battery that you can fit in here with a JST connector is going to work also, and that's going to include the previous Sky Viper batteries, although I haven't necessarily tried it, but I believe those did have the JST connector also. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm actually not even sure if this battery's charged, but we'll see. So I'm going to connect that. We got flashing lights, good sign. And we're going to hit power on our transmitter, and then it's going to search. You hear it doing this little audible chimes, and then when it connects, you get like this little dee-dee-dee kind of sound. So we are connected. And this one, like the V2400 and a bunch of other quads from Sky Viper, this new batch of Sky Vipers, has a bunch of auto functions, and one of them being auto launch. So let's do that, and it's going to launch up here. I'm going to try not to hit my house. And so right now and as you can see, it's wobbling a little bit. It flies a little bit heavy, so be careful if you're going to just descend, straight down. You get in that vortex ring state where it kind of catches. See, look at it, it's wobbling. But, this one flies forward very well. So, altitude hold and all these Sky Viper quads, not necessarily the best. I've flown a lot of quads, and the Sky Viper ones, I mean, it's not terrible. I've seen worse altitude hold, but I've definitely seen better also. So in these altitude hold functions and the auto functions, it's gonna kind of auto hover, and I guess you would call this hovering even though it's kind of bouncing around. There's not really much of a wind out here today. And, oh, we just dropped out of the sky. It's definitely not good. I don't know if it got confused or what the story was here. Let's try to go up again here. And not exactly sure what happened there. Accelerometer could have just got confused or something. So as I was saying, your throttle does not have any sort of function in these when you're in the auto hover. When you auto launch it, it's going to automatically hover and try to keep its altitude. And then you can adjust it with these buttons here. It's going to raise it and lower it. So, but who wants to hover a racer? Even though this is the hover racer, you don't want to just hover, right? You want to come out and fly this thing, right? And it does work pretty good. You know, as you can see there, it gets this wobble going. And I'm doing that with my thumb. That's not, you know, just doing that. But anyway, let's take this out of auto function. So to do that, you're going to hit this L1 button and then hit your stunt button, and then once you give it input on your throttle, it's going to be in full manual, so you're going to fly it around like your normal quadcopter. So let's bring it in here and give you guys a nice shot of it flying. And mode 1 here, you probably got a little bit of a microphone hit there of all that wind. So it is a very stable quad, especially if you're flying forward. Sometimes you can get a little wobbly in the turns, but I like the way this one flies. It's definitely fairly aggressive, especially in these higher rates. And I believe that's my battery, so I guess this battery wasn't totally charged. Let's bring it in here. And luckily for me, I have more batteries here. So let's just pop another battery in real quick. I'm getting about, I don't know, 6-minute flights. That's definitely not good for the transmitter. Getting about 6-minute flights out of this one. So we're linked here, and I'm hearing a plane. That one's probably way up there. I'm not going to fly this too high anyway, so it's not going to really affect it. So let's hand launch this. And we're back in auto features. So let's go back to manual and give it some stick. And now we're in full manual, flying this quadcopter around. And what rate are we in here? We're still in rate 1. So here's your funnel on rate 1. It can kind of funnel on rate 1. Yaw rates on this are pretty quick, and they do change from rate to rate. So it flies okay. I mean, it's catching some wind there. This one doesn't love the wind. It's a little bit heavy with those sensors, so it can definitely get wobbly. So let's go to rate 2 here, and it's going to get a little bit more aggressive in rate 2. And I like the way this one flies. I like the way it sounds. All these Sky Vipers, I like the way they sound. They have a very distinct sound to them. And this one flies real smooth, especially, like I said, when you're giving it forward pitch on a calm day. Wind can, you know, give it some problems, but it flies around real nice on these calm days, especially in these upper rates. So this one is definitely a nice flyer. Here we go, a little bit of a funnel. Funnels pretty well. I like the way this one flies. And let's go to our third rate here real quick. And here's your yaw on the third rate. Let's bring it in a little closer for a little yaw demonstration. Here's your yaw. It does get a little wobbly, this one. Tends to wobble, flies a little bit heavy. And let's see what we can get for a funnel here. You know, a little wobbly, not, you know, it can be tight, but if it catches any sort of wind, it's going to get a little wobbly. But check out the speed on this third rate, though, and check out the pitch. Watch this. I'm try to bring it right by me here. You know, it's got a nice sound to it. Fairly quiet. Ooh, almost took my head off. But look at that pitch, though, on this third rate. It flies super, you know, it gives it an extreme pitch. And you definitely got to watch your throttle, because the pitch can kind of go right into the ground if you're not careful. You'll fly right into the ground. So always be careful when you're giving this one full forward pitch. But look at, you know, it flies real nice. And while we're thinking about it, let's do some flips here. Which is the flip button? Oh, I think it's this L1 button up here. This one has these 4 buttons, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what they all do. I think once you get into these hover races and you're racing around with people, you can unlock features like weapons to knock people out of the sky and, you know, basically make people's quads do some other things. Like, I don't know, I haven't experimented with them at all, but there are some features you can unlock with these buttons here. So there was our flip there. This one will only do, you know, left and right flips or rolls, whatever you want to call them. And I think that's because of the weight of this one. Definitely gives itself quite a bit of altitude too when it does a flip. So be aware of that. Hello, Mr. Hover Racer. And let's give it another flip here, see if we can do it. And these Sky Vipers seem to have some sort of sensor that knows what height they're at, and they'll only flip if they're a certain height off the ground. And sometimes the sensor gets confused, so that being said, you could be well above the height that you're supposed to be to flip it, and it'll think it's too low and it won't flip. Or you could be under it and it thinks you're over it and it'll still flip. So depending on what you're doing, be aware of that. I'm not 100% sure if that's true of this hover racer here, but it's definitely true of the V2400. And I'm going to come back with an updated review of the V2400 shortly after I've been flying it around for a decent amount of time. But that's about all we have to show here with this hover racer. Look at the funnel. That's a pretty good funnel. I like this one. It flies nice. Flies super smooth. Almost wish it didn't have the sensors. I think it would fly a little bit better. I may look into removing those because, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not super wild about the racing game and the app. I just think this one's fun to fly. But I will give you guys a little demonstration of the app here on my next battery. So, I think the app is a good idea. And it's kind of cool that quads are going into a more like interactive direction. But in practice, I think it's kind of just a little bit tedious to set up. So I'm not a huge fan of the beacons. But I think it's more geared towards children and younger people than myself that want to get together and race these things. But I've had varying success. And then there's another feature of these Sky Vipers. The transmitter will beep at you when you get your LVC warning. So not exactly sure what the flight time was on that. I'll put it on the screen. So there we have it. There's our flight characteristics of the hover racer, and now I will try and give you a demonstration of the beacons. Hopefully we can get that working. Alright, so let's give you a demonstration of the app that comes along with the hover racer here. So you're going to download this from the App Store or Google Play or wherever you get your apps from, and it's just called Hover Racer. So we'll go inside here and you'll get your skyrocket loading screen, and make sure you have your quad on and your transmitter and they're bound. It might tell you to do that once we get into the app here. I'm not 100% sure. Can't remember. So you get this nice little graphic animation when you load in here. Tap to start. So we're going to tap that. And now we're going to go to beacon setup there in the lower right hand corner. Now it's going to tell you to get your beacons ready so you can get racing. So we'll hit continue. And then it gives you, it comes with stickers and you can apply them to your beacons here. I haven't gone ahead and done that. Probably won't do that. Anyway, let's do that. And, it's telling you to just connect all those things and get all this thing done. I've already done all this. So let's skip these setup instructions. I guess we'll go to time trial. So our racer is connected here, and this connects via Bluetooth. And you can go to any sort of custom track. So there's a bunch of different tracks you can go to. I only have 3 working beacons, so I'm looking for one that has these 3 just a very basic, here's a basic track 7 here, a very basic track. So actually look at, where was it, track 6? Yeah, look at track 6. So you go, I'm kind of confused by that. This one, you start off in 1, go to 2, go to 3, and then back to 1. That's pretty straightforward. And so let's hit start. What I'm going to do is just take them real quick and set them up. So I have my beacon set up, and what it's doing now is telling me to hit the L1 and R1 together to start the race. So that's what I'm going to do. And here we go. So my red beacon is right here. So let's see if this works. Yeah, we got that one. So let's go to this blue one, see if that one works. I can't remember if it's the blue or the gray one that doesn't work. Or maybe I should just go to the green one. I don't think the app really knows which one is which. So there we go. Now it's telling me to go to blue, but I want to say it's gray. The gray one works and the blue one doesn't. And I found that these are a little finicky where it's hard to, there we go. It's hard for them, you know, the range on them is not super great. So there I am, fairly close, and it didn't register. You kind of got to fly right over them. I feel like I was close enough where it should have registered there. Let's go back. There we go, that worked. So let's go to our green. Missed the green. Got it there. Now I'll go back to gray. And we missed the gray. Come on, buddy. There we go. So now we're getting like a turbo boost, and I'm not exactly sure what that's all about. Alright, so we flew over there. Whoop. See if we can get it. Probably should have spaced these out a little bit better too, but I want to keep it in close so you guys can see it on camera. Haven't really had any issues with range on this quad. What is going on here? We're not hitting the... There we go. Let's just see what happens when we hit this nitro boost thing. I don't know what that means. It did something. I don't know, made a little beep. So we're by... So my race time here, I guess that's the finish. I finished my laps. That's another thing, it's kind of hard to look at the app controller and fly this thing around at the same time, but if we look at our what do you call them here? Our times. Race time was 2 minutes 15 seconds and 60 hundredths. Fastest lap was 24 seconds and 49 frames, or 49 hundredths. Top speed was 4.10 miles per hour, and the average speed was 0.81 miles per hour, or meters per hour, or meters per second. Meters per second, I think that's what that means. So definitely not the best times. Why don't we try spacing these out a little bit more, and we'll see if we can get a better speed going. Because another thing on these Sky Vipers, it tells you your drone battery, and this says we're full, which I don't think that's going to be accurate, but we'll see. Okay, back on the porch. Let's go to try again. And okay, we have, now is it telling me low battery? I don't know. Let's start this thing. Let's see what happens. So here we go. Let's hit the red one. Oh, come on, I flew right over that. You kidding me? There we go. We got red. Let's go to green. Got the green. Now let's go over to gray. We're not hitting the gray. Oh, come on. There we go, we got the gray. Let's go to red. Whoa. Almost flew right into the ground. The green, come on green. There we go, green. Now let's go over to gray. Nothing. Come on, Mr. Gray. Oh man, I flew right over that. You kidding me? You kidding me with that? There we go. Now let's see if we can hit this red one. Nothing. Let's get the red one. Come on, Mr. Red. There we go, red. Maybe got to be a certain height. There's green. Awfully close to that tree. Oh no! We hit the grass. Alright, so here we are. We hit the ground. We hit the grass. How dare you, grass? Let's see, do we still have... Now let's see if we can hit this. Are we hitting this gray? What's going on here? We're like legit flying right over the thing. And we're not hitting it. There we go. Now what do I gotta do? Go back to 1? Let's go back to 1. Come on, Mr. 1. There we go. I got first. You know why? Because I'm the only person in this race. You know what I mean? So let's check our time. Man, I can't talk today. 2 minutes, 26 seconds and 16 hundredths. Fastest lap was 24 seconds and 16 hundredths. Top speed was 3.54 meters per second, and the average speed was 0.75 meters per second. So I did better the first time. Anyway, so as you can see, the app, I'm not an expert on this app. I haven't really explored it. You know, there's a co-op that says it's coming soon, single player, you can race, you got your beacon set up. Definitely not an expert with this app, but from my experience, it's a little bit frustrating. Felt like I was flying right over the beacons there and they weren't registering. So I'm not sure this is definitely worth the price for what it is with these beacons. They don't seem to work super great. And, you know, I mean, I guess it could be kind of fun if you get a bunch of people together and a few of these things in the air. I'd love to test that out, but I only have one of these and don't know anyone that owns another one. So I guess that's as good as I can do for a demonstration for you guys. There you go, guys. Little video with the Sky Viper Hover Racer. A little bit on the long side. Apologize for that, but there's kind of a lot to show with this one. Has a lot of features. I like that they're going with an interactive game style, although I did have varying success with it. I bet it would be a lot of fun if you got a lot of people together and we're playing the game. So if you can get like 3 or 4 of these things going with your friends, I bet you it's a lot of fun. And this one does fly very well. It does tend to get a little wobbly, but when it's going forward and fast and it's very calm out, it does fly very well. So seems a little bit on the high end of the price range, especially since the app is kind of iffy whether it works or not, but I will say it does fly very well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, subscribe. And if I missed anything with the Hover Racer here or anything at all, hit me up in the comments below. I thank you guys for watching. Until the next video, happy flying and try not to crash and burn.